I've always wanted to learn how to paint with gouache, but just the process of learning seems really overwhelming to me. So I just decided to challenge myself to try to learn it within only 4 days. For starting, I wanted to test the colors and practice both color theory and making skin colors. I decided to make the skin tone chart and found it really helpful. Going back and forth, mixing colors to make the color swatches, going from darker in shadow skin tones to lighter ones. I was thinking of one efficient way to do this challenge. Maybe testing my level could speed things up. I looked up for one reference photo for portrait on Pinterest and started painting to find my weakness. As I watched how artists working with gouache do it before, it felt easier going from thin to thicker layers of paint. I was wondering about the process of how I can actually learn it within 4 days, and I thought maybe just first by knowing how I can paint without any previous experience of painting with gouache, that might help to know first what are the weaknesses, and then it will be easier for me to know what to actually practice, because as I will know how I want my paintings to look like, so I know that where I should go and what would be the best practices for me to concentrate on. This was enough for day 1. Now let's start day 2. I was looking for a landscape reference. As I plan to do illustrations, I tend to choose subjects or tutorials that help me to reach to that level of skill sooner. With painting one portrait and landscape, I figured out what my weaknesses are. So now it's time to work on them. First one, I find it difficult to paint various shapes at once. It's like talking in a new language and your mind suddenly goes blank and you don't know the word to speak. So I found some tutorial shorts to practice with some grass, and of course making that grass look 3D as a way. And other parts of my weakness were faded layers, brush strokes, and blending. It was tricky to paint the tree in distance, so I decided to mix the color with a lot of water and watched a few tutorials for this one as well. I see lots of interesting brush strokes in gouache paintings that I couldn't apply, so I made a chart to try out different approaches to see which one works and what would be the result. So I tried applying thick layer over a thin layer or a thin layer over a thick layer, pressing the brush harder and smoother. I somehow couldn't blend the colors well. I thought that this had something with my timing. I waited too much or too little. So again, I tried out different timing, different layer thickness. These practices and try and errors gave me a clue about how these should be done. Now it's time to apply this knowledge in day 3. For this day, I chose a reference photo on Pinterest. I tried to be extremely patient and calm while painting, and I tried to plan the drawing as I've never tried this one before. I would try to apply lighter skin colors way sooner than the previous one, and would choose only a few limited colors for first layers of paint. After applying one layer, I would blend it with more water mixed with the paint and try to leave a brush stroke over the previous layer. Although I lost the control over the finishing layers for her lips and I was too tired to fix it, as it was only my 3rd painting, I thought that I'd leave perfection behind. I thought that it's okay to do this just because it's my 3rd painting with gouache. It's the final hours for the 3rd day and I just sketched the landscape and put some layers of paint, and the rest of it would remain for the 4th day. So I think that knowing my weakness and this way of try and error afterwards works. There is no need to paint thousands of paintings. Of course it helps to develop skills, but it just takes loads of time. It's not a shortcut, but I just assume it as it's being focused on what you're learning. To use a really large palette. I used a smaller glass palette before, but I changed the size to an approximately 30 to 20 centimeters, and this gave me more space to explore color variations in hue, value, and saturation. The painting would have more color variations in this case. Plan the drawing and to experiment on different scales. This is actually how I learned how to paint a faded tree in distance. I tried to correct the landscape for about 1,000 times, and this is just how it turned out to be. I wouldn't say that I'm fully satisfied with the landscape, but I really felt happy with the result of the portrait. I would have fixed some parts of her face if I could, but I persuaded myself that it's just enough. I'm really happy that I did this challenge, as I really didn't expect myself too much, and it just helps me to only concentrate and not to be afraid to make one painting that's not looking even slightly good. So these are just the results. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video.